Okay, we're going to do it this time. Hello and welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program, Kimberly Acosta. Many of the stories heard here can be found at our websites, IndianCountryNews.com or IndianCountryTV.com. Here is the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Founder and president of the Salish Kootenai College, Dr. Joe McDonald, who is one of the 100 most influential people in 20th century Montana, has received yet another recognition. During the Salish Kootenai Summer Quarterly Meeting in early July, Dr. McDonald was presented the Chairman's Award for all his contributions to the at-large and tribal societies. As an educational marathon man, a family man, teacher, administrator, coach, politician, mentor, role model, and athlete, Dr. McDonald continues to give back to his community. The next chapter in this amazing man's life will include retirement in 2010 and time spent writing a book about the McDonald family of the Flathead Reservation. After being sued by half a dozen environmental groups, including the Humane Society of the United States, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has agreed to place the gray wolf back on the endangered species list for the Great Lakes region. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service admitted on June 29th that it did not provide the proper comment period required by regulation in order to delist the wolf. Control was turned over to the states in the region of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan back in May. Though the court still must approve the settlement with environmentalists, for now the animals are back under federal protection. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has indicated it plans to go forth with action to delist once again in the future, this time with correct protocol. The settlement solely affects the Great Lake region and does not affect the status of wolves in other parts of the country. Stacey Thunder, an Ojibwe from Red Lake and the Coudray, was recently cast as Judith Turandot, a reoccurring role in the Starz hit series Crash, from the producers of the Academy Award-winning Best Motion Picture. The provocative 13-episode drama series is scheduled to air beginning September 18th, starring film icon Dennis Hopper. Stacey is also the host and co-producer of the PBS educational Native news and lifestyle magazine program, Native Report. In its fourth successful season, with a full 15-episode schedule, the show is aired in markets throughout the United States. For more information on Stacey Thunder, you can go to staceythunder.com. The Choctaw Nation has been honored by the Oklahoma State Senate for its outstanding support of the National Guard and Reserve, as well as veterans. Senator J. Paul Gum, a Democrat, was author of the Senate Resolution 48, praising the tribe, who was the recipient of the 2008 Pro Patra Award, which is the highest honor bestowed for support of military men and women. The Choctaw Nation was also awarded the 2008 Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award. The Choctaw Nation provides pay differential, 30 days paid military leave per year, insurance, care packages, and phone cards, as well as equipment including special knives and walkie-talkies, which were sent to the 95th Reservists so that transport teams could communicate during low visibility. They also fund a Veterans Advocacy Program, an annual Veterans Ceremony, and has provided property and funding for a veterans cemetery. Plus, they purchased an ultrasound machine for detecting embedded shrapnel in wounded soldiers and has provided emergency assistance for families while military members are deployed. The much anticipated album release of Old Times by the Red Lake Singers took place during the Red Lake Nation Independence Day celebration on July 6th through the 9th in Red Lake, Minnesota. The Red Lake Singers are from the Red Lake Nation, whose style of singing belongs to the genre well known throughout Indian country as powwow music. The singers on Old Times are Dan Bellinger, Joe Bellinger, Johnny Smith, James Strong, Peter Strong Sr., and Willie Strong. This new raw recording was produced to capture and preserve old songs as an old style of singing of the Ojibwe people at Red Lake, one of the most traditional Indian communities in the country. Songs on the recording were taught to the elder Red Lake singers by their fathers, grandfathers, and uncles when they were young boys as early as the 1920s. For more information on the album, you can go to redlakesingers.com. And who is the funniest comedian in the world? According to comedian evaluation software inventor Steve Roy, that title belongs squarely to Native American comedian J.R. Redwater, who will be featured in the upcoming Showtime comedy special, American Indian Comedy Slam, in November. Roy recently reviewed an uncut, unedited, almost 9-minute YouTube video recorded by IndianCountryTV.com of comedian J.R. Redwater. Redwater's PAR score, which means positive audience response, was an amazing 62, meaning that 62% of Redwater's time spent on stage in this video was laughter, cheering, or applause. According to Roy, a PAR score of 50 for any comedian is very rare. The highest PAR score Roy had recorded before Redwater was Bill Cosby, with a PAR score of 54. Redwater's lowest PAR score after 3 separate evaluations was 62. The patent-pending comedy evaluation software used for PAR score determination is provided as part of Roy's educational resources for professional comedians. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of Native News Update. We look forward to seeing you again, and we'd like to thank our underwriters for helping us with this broadcast. Thank you, and have a grand day.